The Debt Reset, America's Strategic Gambit. Washington, D.C. November 2025. 2:47 a.m. While most of the city sleeps, somewhere in the labyrinth of federal buildings, decisions are being made that will reshape the global economy. Not with announcements. Not with press conferences. But in silence. In shadows. In the language of power that the public never hears. This is not a story about debt. Everyone talks about debt. Economists on cable news. Politicians on campaign trails. Financial analysts warning of collapse. But they're all asking the wrong question. The question isn't how will America pay its debt? The question is, why would it? 12 people. No recording devices allowed. No phones. No leaks. On the left side of the table, Sarah Chen, former Goldman Sachs quantitative analyst, now Treasury Department's lead financial strategist. Next to her, Marcus Webb, 27 years at the NSA, now heading the Treasury's Cyber Intelligence Division. Across from them, General Patricia Rawlings, Defense Department's chief military economist. Dr. James Okafor, Federal Reserve Senior Advisor on Monetary Policy. And seated at the head of the table, the man who called this meeting, someone whose name you'll never see in any public record. For the purposes of this story, we'll call him the architect. The screen behind them flickers to life. Numbers cascade. Charts appear. And then, in massive red digits, $37,847,332,000,000. The room falls silent. The architect, $37,847,000,000,000. Give or take a few million. That's roughly 123% of GDP. More than Japan. More than Germany and the UK combined. More than any nation in history has ever owed. And here's what I want everyone in this room to understand. We are not here to pay this debt. We are here to make it irrelevant. To understand what happens next, you need to understand what happened before. 1944, the world is still bleeding from World War II. Representatives from 44 nations gather in New Hampshire for the Bretton Woods Conference. The question on the table, what becomes the world's reserve currency? The British pound is dying. The French franc is unstable. The answer? The US dollar. Not because America asked nicely, but because America held the cards. Gold. Military power. Industrial capacity. Credited to half the world. The dollar became backed by gold. 44 nations agreed. Their currencies would be fixed to the dollar, and the dollar would be fixed to gold at $35 per ounce. America didn't just win the war. It won the peace. It won the future. But in 1971, President Nixon did something revolutionary. He closed the gold window. Suddenly, the dollar was backed by nothing. Nothing except trust. Except military might. Except the fact that oil, the world's most crucial commodity, could only be bought in dollars. For 54 years, that system has held. The dollar remains king. But empires don't last forever. And every king eventually faces a challenger. The question facing the people in that conference room is simple. How does America remain the empire of money in a world that's losing faith in money itself? 260 miles southwest of Washington, buried in the hills of Kentucky, sits the most famous vault in the world. The United States Bullion Depository. Fort Knox. Built in 1936. Holds roughly 147 million ounces of gold. Or so they say. Because here's the thing about Fort Knox. No independent audit has been allowed since 1953. No journalist has ever been inside. No foreign government representative has ever verified the inventory. For decades, people have asked, is the gold really there? Has some been secretly sold? Does America actually hold 8,133 tons as claimed, or is that a fiction? Sarah Chen, the conspiracy theories actually help us. As long as people are questioning whether the gold exists, they're not questioning what we're planning to do with it. Dr. Okafor, which is? Sarah Chen, use it without selling it. Let me walk you through this. Currently, gold is trading around $2,000 per ounce. The US officially holds 261 million ounces. That's $522 billion at current prices. Meaningful, but not enough to move the needle on $37 trillion in debt. But what if gold hits $5,000? Our reserves are suddenly worth $1.3 trillion. At $10,000? $2.6 trillion. And that's just the gold we admit to having. General Rawlings, you're suggesting we have more? Sarah Chen, I'm suggesting that strategic ambiguity is a weapon. China thinks they have 2,000 tons. Russia claims 2,300 tons. But supply chain analysis, mining data, and classified treasury records suggest alternative numbers. The architect, the point is this. When gold rises, our balance sheet transforms. Not because we pay debt with gold, we won't, but because the value of our strategic reserves increases dramatically. It's accounting, yes. But in economics, perception is reality. They're right. Since 2008, central banks worldwide have been buying gold at rates not seen since the 1960s. China, Russia, India, Turkey, Poland. They're preparing for something. A shift. A crack in the dollar system. And America? America is preparing too. Here's the scenario: a financial crisis hits. Maybe it starts in Europe. Maybe China's real estate bubble finally bursts completely. Maybe it's a cyber attack on the SWIFT payment system. The cause doesn't matter. What matters is the panic. When panic hits, money runs. It runs from stocks, from bonds, from real estate, from anything uncertain. And it runs towards safety. Historically, that's meant two things: the US dollar and gold. But what if, in that moment of crisis, the United States makes an announcement? In response to global financial instability, the Federal Reserve, in coordination with the US Treasury, is implementing emergency measures to strengthen the dollar. Effective immediately, we are establishing a partial gold backing for newly issued Treasury securities. The United States holds sufficient gold reserves, both disclosed and strategic, to guarantee this backing. Boom. Gold prices explode. Maybe they double in hours. Maybe they triple. And suddenly, America's balance sheet looks completely different. The debt is still there on paper, but relative to the value of American assets? It shrinks. It becomes manageable. It becomes noise. Dr. Okafor, but partial gold backing wouldn't require us to actually redeem dollars for gold, would it? The architect, correct. It's a confidence mechanism. A signal. We're not going back to the gold standard. We're creating something new. A hybrid system where the dollar remains flexible but gains the psychological backing of hard assets. Marcus Webb, and while the world is focused on gold, we play our second card. Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Created in 2009 by someone, or some group, using the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. The world's first decentralized cryptocurrency. No central bank. No government control. The ultimate rebellion against the financial system. Or so the story goes. Early adopters saw Bitcoin as freedom. As a way to opt out of government money, surveillance, control. And for a while, governments seemed worried. Congressional hearings. Regulatory threats. China banned it. India tried to ban it. But the United States? The United States did something far more clever. It watched. It waited. And it collected. Marcus Webb, let me show you something most people don't know. 2013. FBI shuts down Silk Road, an online black market. Seizes 144,000 Bitcoin. At the time, worth about $28 million. Today? Over $10 billion. 2016, Operation Bayonet takes down Alphabet and Hansa, two darknet markets. Thousands more Bitcoin seized. 2022, Bitfinex hack recovery. 94,000 Bitcoin returned to US custody. Then there are the ransomware cases. The North Korean hackers. The Chinese state actors. Every time we trace and seize crypto assets, they go somewhere. The public assumes they're auctioned off immediately. Some are. But some? The architect, some are held in strategic reserve. Classified locations. Cold storage. No public accounting. General Rawlings, how much are we talking about? Marcus Webb, if I told you the exact number, I'd have to kill you. But let's just say that if Bitcoin hits $200,000 per coin, the United States government would be among the largest holders of Bitcoin in the world. And unlike other nations that are buying Bitcoin publicly, El Salvador, Ukraine, Switzerland, we accumulated ours quietly. Through law enforcement. Through intelligence operations. Through methods that don't appear on any public ledger. Here's what most people don't understand about Bitcoin. It was designed to be decentralized, yes. But it exists within centralized systems. Internet infrastructure controlled by nations. Mining operations subject to local laws. Exchanges that must comply with regulations. Custody solutions protected, or monitored, by governments. Bitcoin isn't outside the system. It's a new battlefield inside the system. And America has been playing this game since 2013. Sarah Chen, Bitcoin is digital gold. That's not just a metaphor. It's a strategic parallel. Limited supply, only 21 million will ever exist. Portable, divisible, difficult to seize if stored correctly, and increasingly, trusted. Major banks now offer Bitcoin custody. BlackRock has a Bitcoin ETF. Pension funds are allocating small percentages. This isn't fringe anymore. This is institutional. Dr. Okafor, so what's the play? Sarah Chen, same as gold. We let the price rise. We don't need to pump it. That happens naturally when fiat currencies weaken. We just need to be positioned. When Bitcoin hits $500,000 or $1 million per coin, our undisclosed reserves become a multi-trillion-dollar asset. The architect, and then we do something unprecedented. We announce the creation of a new treasury instrument. Not replacing the dollar. Enhancing it. A Federal Reserve digital currency, a true digital dollar, partially backed by a basket of reserves including gold, Bitcoin, and strategic commodities. General Rawlings, you're talking about a hybrid reserve system. The architect, exactly. The dollar remains the dollar. But now it has anchors in both the old world and the new. Physical gold for traditionalists. Bitcoin for the digital generation. And US government backing for everyone who trusts American power. Marcus Webb, this would reset the entire global monetary system. The architect, yes. It would. To understand why this matters, you need to understand the threat. For 20 years, China has been preparing to challenge the dollar. They've built an alternative payment system called CIPS. They've been signing bilateral trade deals in yuan. They've been hoarding gold, officially 2,000 tons, but likely far more hidden in state banks. The Belt and Road Initiative. Trillions invested in infrastructure across 150 countries. Every port, every railway, every power plant, a piece of leverage. A way to make the yuan essential. A way to slowly, quietly, build a new economic empire. General Rawlings, if we implement this gold-Bitcoin hybrid system, China's strategy collapses overnight. The architect, explain. General Rawlings, China has been accumulating gold to back the yuan, hoping to present a credible alternative to the dollar. But they can't match our gold reserves, not if we reveal hidden stockpiles. And they've been hostile to Bitcoin, banning mining and trading. They missed that boat entirely. If the US announces a dollar backed by both gold and Bitcoin, China is caught flat-footed. They can't pivot to Bitcoin without undermining years of policy. They can't compete on gold without admitting they've been lying about their reserves. And most critically, any country holding Chinese debt suddenly sees it as less attractive compared to the new American instruments. Sarah Chen, capital flows reverse. Money floods back to dollar assets. The yuan weakens. China's Belt and Road investments start failing as countries can't pay back loans. Their entire strategy unravels. Russia. 4 years, they've been trying to de-dollarize. Selling oil in rubles and yuan. Building gold reserves. Forming alliances with China, Iran, and other nations frustrated with American financial dominance. Dr. Okafor, Russia holds about 2,300 tons of gold. That's their hedge against sanctions. But if gold prices skyrocket because of US policy, they benefit temporarily, until we reveal our full strategy. The architect, and then? Dr. Okafor, then they realize their gold is a defensive asset, not an offensive one. They are holding wealth, but they don't control the system. The dollar-gold-Bitcoin hybrid still dominates global trade. Their leverage evaporates. Europe is more complicated. The Eurozone has significant gold reserves. Germany alone holds over 3,300 tons. But the euro has always been the dollar's understudy. Important regionally, but never truly global. Sarah Chen, if we create a reinforced dollar, Europe has two choices: compete or cooperate. Competition is impossible. They don't have the Bitcoin reserves, they don't have the unified fiscal policy, and they don't have the geopolitical leverage. So they cooperate. The architect, which means Sarah Chen, the European Central Bank aligns with our system. Maybe they create their own hybrid digital euro, loosely pegged to our model. Maybe they simply increase their dollar holdings. Either way, we've set the standard. We've redefined what a reserve currency looks like in the 21st century. This is what financial warfare looks like. No tanks. No missiles. Just policy. Just positioning. Just the slow, invisible restructuring of how billions of people understand value. Marcus Webb, the IMF would resist initially. They've been pushing for special drawing rights, their own basket currency, for decades. But if the US implements this first, the IMF becomes irrelevant. Or they adapt and peg SDRs to our new model. General Rawlings, smaller nations? Marcus Webb, they follow. They always follow. El Salvador already adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. If the US legitimizes Bitcoin as part of reserve backing, other small nations will rush to align themselves with our framework. They'd rather be early partners than late adopters. The architect, and the debt? That's the beautiful part. The debt doesn't disappear. It's still there. $37 trillion. But it becomes a ratio problem, not an absolute problem. When your reserves increase in value by trillions, when capital floods back into your assets, when you control the new monetary standard, the debt becomes background noise. Think of it this way. If you owe $37,000 on a house worth $30,000, you're underwater. You're insolvent. But if that same house is suddenly worth $500,000 because the entire neighborhood transformed, you're no longer worried about the $37,000. You're wealthy. That's the game. Not paying the debt. Making it irrelevant by transforming the denominator. So when does this happen? When does America play its hand? The answer, when it has to. When the system is already breaking. It could be triggered by a banking crisis. A cascade of defaults in commercial real estate. A cyber attack that disrupts the SWIFT system for days. A war that spikes oil prices to $200 per barrel. The specifics don't matter. What matters is that in every crisis, there's a moment, a window, when the old rules break and new rules can be written. The architect, when that moment comes, we will be ready. The gold is positioned. The Bitcoin is secured. The Federal Reserve has the technical infrastructure for a digital dollar. The legal frameworks are drafted. The international partnerships are established quietly. All we need is the crisis. And gentlemen, ladies, the crisis always comes. Now, you might be wondering, what does this mean for regular people? For the teacher in Ohio, the engineer in California, the retired couple in Florida? If this works, if America successfully resets the monetary system, inflation stabilizes. The dollar strengthens. Savings accounts regain value. The nightmare scenario of currency collapse, of hyperinflation, of economic chaos, that gets pushed back. Maybe for another generation. Global trade becomes more stable. Emerging markets that rely on dollar-denominated debt find their burdens eased as the dollar's hybrid backing makes it more predictable. The world financial system, which has been creaking and groaning since 2008, gets a new foundation. But there's a cost. A digital dollar means trackability. Every transaction potentially monitored. Privacy, already eroding in the digital age, takes another hit. The government doesn't need to seize your assets if it can simply freeze your digital wallet. This is the trade-off. Stability for freedom. Security for privacy. The meeting in that conference room ended hours ago. The officials returned to their homes, their offices, their classified operations. No minutes were recorded. No leaks will emerge. This conversation, officially, never happened. But somewhere in the vaults of Fort Knox, gold sits waiting. Somewhere in encrypted hard drives, Bitcoin wallets remain sealed. Somewhere in the Federal Reserve systems, code is being written for a digital currency that doesn't yet exist. Because here's the final truth about empires, they don't survive by paying their debts. They survive by making their debts irrelevant. By controlling the system that defines value itself. Gold is the past. Bitcoin is the future. The dollar is the bridge. And America survives not by chance, but by design. Not by following the rules, but by rewriting them. Not by apologizing for its power, but by wielding it with precision. The $37 trillion debt? It's still there. It's real. But in the game of global finance, reality is just the starting point. The endgame is about who gets to decide what reality means. And America has always been very good at that game.